Due to the opinionated nature of these programs, listener discretion is highly advised. If you have any questions or comments about today's program, you can give us a call at 716-878-5104.
To join Mr. Hare on today's Living for the People, dial 878-5104. That's 716-878-5104. Or go to facebook.com/91.3 WBNY and comment there. That's facebook.com/91.3 WBNY.
All right, welcome to Living for the People. This is L. Nathan Hare. Welcome you to our broadcast focused on providing insight into events shaping our national and regional world and the facts behind those events and policies that are shaping our world for today and for tomorrow. Join us weekly on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. following Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! Program. And of course, our program is live, so you can call in, you can join our discussion. We really hope that you will. I think you'll really enjoy the discussion that we're going to have today. Our number here again is 716-878-5104. That's 716-878-5104. And we're here with Willie H., who does the live streaming of the program. He's our engineer. Welcome to the program, Willie.
Welcome, everybody, to Living for the People with L. Nathan here. Call us live, 716-878-5104.
And, Will, I just got to say this again. I know I say it every now and then.
Yeah.
Every time I hear the lead-in with James Brown's voice, it feels comforting to me.
Yeah.
You know, I did this program with him for about 5 years.
Right.
So we just got used to each other, right?
Right.
And it just feels comforting, you know. So God bless.
Yep.
And I pray that the one God is taking care of him as we believe and feel sure that he is.
Yeah.
As we're talking about taking care of stuff, I want to focus today's program on the theme, the rest of the story. I forget the guy's name, the former news analyst, opinion writer, who used to use that as his closing line, you know, and that was the rest of the story. And in this space, in this hour, we have looked at many issues surrounding the coronavirus crisis and how nations, including the United States, responded to the crisis. And, Will, you know, we talked about these issues as we went along. But, you know, we had other things take over. You know, Ukraine took over, inflation took over.
Yeah.
You know, people started leaving their office spaces and staying home and closing down office areas in downtowns all across the country. So our attention got shifted to what was happening, and we were kind of moving on the fly. Mm-hmm. But as we flew by, there were other issues that still needed to be discussed that we didn't really get a chance to hone in on and try to get some traction on. So I want to get some traction now. Mm-hmm. As with all things, any change that occurs within a society or any actions taken in response to those changes, there are seen and there are unseen consequences. Mm-hmm. Feel that again. Whenever you take a step in any direction, that step leads to a second, third, and millionth step in that direction.
Right.
So if the step you take is not the direction you were already going, it's a different direction, you can expect you're going to have different outcomes. There's going to be different things going on with you as you go along that slightly different or radically different path, however that gets said. Mm-hmm. Well, the coronavirus, whose primary derivative, COVID-19, became the name that we gave to the pandemic, as of December 14th of this year, as of yesterday, as of today, 103 million American people became infected with the virus. And I'm not sure if I said that correctly. 103.436 million Americans got infected with this virus. That's 1/3 of the entire population of the United States got infected with this virus in a 18-month period. That's big, right? You got to talk into the mic.
I'm sorry. My fault. Yvonne Jarrett is watching, and Kenneth A. Bowles, I think, is watching.
All right. Well,
Facebook.
call in if
Call in,
I
guys.
start to ring a bell for you. Call in, because this seems to me to be a conversation that should be going on right now, and it isn't. And if it is not, if the possible things that are going on occur, we may be in much more trouble than we thought we were during the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me see if I can make this make sense.
Yeah.
Over 7 million people died worldwide from this virus. We noted at the time that, and we said this on the air, that the changes that we were making in our society to reduce the spread of the virus and to cope with the effects of the virus were going to produce behavioral and possibly other changes in us that would become permanent. In other words, the coronavirus and our response to the coronavirus created reasons for us to make changes in how we function as Americans in this society. And those changes have not gone away. They have become permanent parts of our landscape. Let me give you some examples. How people interact with each other. When I go to church at True Bethel, you see half the people with masks on their faces. Now,
Right. Same here. Not half, but I see a good amount of people with masks.
Yep. Now, a lot of them got those cloth masks, because they look good. They got polka dots and flowers on them and bamboo trees and whatnot. They don't really protect you from COVID-19. I don't know why people think that they do, but they really don't. But people wear the mask because they got into the habit of thinking that touching other people, breathing other people's air, places you in a high-risk pool of contracting this virus.
And it's right, because I remember when I was working in Walmart, people had COVID, but a lot of people weren't having the regular flu. Because even when we cough, we had the mask on, so none of that stuff was going. So people was healthy. Oh, I got a call. Go ahead, Mr. Here.
Yep. So while you're taking that call, another thing that happened in terms of how we changed, we reorganized our workspaces to reduce direct contact with people. So, our desks are different now. How we are positioned in our offices are different now. We've even positioned where our workforce is. Our workforces used to work at our plants and our office buildings. Downtown Buffalo was filled with office workers, legal stenos and secretaries and account clerks and administrators of government agencies and so on, all in this big bundle, about a 1.5, 2 square mile area in downtown Buffalo.
Right.
You don't see that anymore. I don't know who's paying these landlords now. They must be going broke because people are leaving those offices because people are staying home.
Yeah.
And once they figured out that they can manipulate the internet, and use Zoom TV or whatever they call that, that put them in a position where they didn't have to work in an office. Now, if you trust your workers to actually do the work when they're at home and you're not watching them, then you can build your model around at-home work.
Well, yeah, a lot of people work at home. I know my daughter, and it's a significant amount. And when people do meetings now, a lot of people do Zoom and even the entertainment business now.
And they only dress halfway.
Right. They only have to. They don't have to dress all the way.
It took me a little while to figure this out. My daughter kept trying to explain this to me, and I thought she was teasing me. But people actually come to work, and they wear the tops of their business clothes.
Right.
And the rest of
Could
them,
be shorts,
Lord
underwear.
knows what if they have anything on at all. You just don't know.
You don't
I
know.
think there was one incident where some guy didn't realize what he was doing. He didn't have anything below his waist,
Right.
and he stood up and went to reach for something, and his jewels, became public property and whatnot.
I think we got Khaki on the line.
Put her on.
Yeah, she's there.
Hi, Khaki. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Good morning, Willie. Good morning, Mr.
Good
Hare.
morning.
Is Norm in the studio? Is Norm in the house?
No,
he's-
funeral he had to
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
get
that.
ready for.
So Mr. Hare and Willie, I hear y'all wear bunny slippers when you come into the studio.
You know what? Hey, Khaki, sometimes I'm
Yeah.
tempted. Because ain't nobody seeing my feet, so I'm tempted sometimes to come in with
Willie is
slippers.
tempted like that. I am
tempted.
never tempted like that. I dress the same way I dressed before there was such a thing as a pandemic. I dress the same way now as I did then.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I got on
talking-
sweats right now, so just to let you know.
Good. Well, talking about the pandemic, it's really out there.
Yep.
I went to a dinner party on Saturday night, and what I should have done was say to the host, has everybody been vaxxed and boosted and up to date? And I did a lot of cooking, and there were a couple of other people in the kitchen who, did cooking in the afternoon. And, I got it. I wanted to be one of those 2/3 of Americans who didn't get it, but guess what?
You got it this time.
I got it.
Wow.
Yeah. I got it. And, because I was boosted, I have a mild case. I'm lucky.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that, I blame myself because I woke up with a bad headache on Tuesday morning and, sore throat, tested. And by the way, I hope people know that you can get testing kits. They're sending out a new wave.
Right. Yep.
But in those kits is an insert from the government. Let me see if I can look it up while I'm talking to you. I don't want to disconnect the phone, but I'll post it on the Facebook page. There's an insert that says expired kits are good. So even though I had a whole bunch of new kits, I went in and I saw like a kit that I had from December
Yep. The old ones
2022.
work just as good as the new ones do. Yep.
And that's how I tested myself, because I'm going to be, and what? So I immediately, this is at 4:30 in the morning. At 8 o'clock, I texted the host, and if he hadn't responded soon, I would have called him because you can't just text and expect people. But at 8:30, he texted me back saying the person I sat next to, who I was cooking, that she had it.
Wow.
And what she actually later I found out she had symptoms the next day. Didn't let everybody know.
Wow.
And, that Monday I went out. I had an eye doctor appointment. I had a physical therapy appointment. I mean, I pray to God I didn't infect the healthcare workers.
Other people, yeah.
And you probably did. You probably did, Kaki. I mean.
Man,
that was not a helpful comment.
She was checked. She was checked.
My first call after him was call the healthcare facilities, just call, but it's out there. So, we were going to have I was going to go to a Christmas gathering a couple of Saturdays ago, and we all said, you know what, this ain't happening. It's just like, one woman's husband's supposed to have surgery 2 weeks later. You just got to, you got to be really, really careful. My son's going, Rob, who is going to Japan.
Oh, nice. Very
January
nice.
the 7th. Yep.
Congrats, Rob.
Yeah, I'll tell him that. Thank you. And, we just decided we're just going to isolate. We just don't want to mess around. So,
right.
And he actually spent that Sunday to Monday morning with me. He stayed, with me overnight, at my apartment, and he didn't get it, thank God. But still, it's because he and I had gotten boosted the same day. So I guess that is that younger people.
Right.
But this is no joke. So people should be cautious.
Yeah.
And it's just.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I want to talk about another side of this issue as we go forward.
Just to confirm with Kaki, my daughter, her family got it just recently, a couple of weeks ago, and my brother in New York in the Bronx, he and his family got it just a few weeks ago. So it's still here, y'all.
We said this thing was never going to go away. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's
And
nothing
now
you
people
can
getting
do.
it with the flu.
There's nothing you can do to make it go away because our body understands COVID-19 or whatever the other versions of coronavirus are. Our bodies understand it. They're used to it. So when it gets on us, our body doesn't react to it the same way that we reacted to the measles or polio, and other kinds of viruses.
Yeah.
Our bodies seem to accept the COVID-19 getting into it. 103 million American people got infected with this virus.
Yeah.
I don't recall anything that happened to an American population that affected us in that way. Even wars don't affect us that way.
Wow, right.
So, but that takes me to another threshold, Kaki. You might know a little bit about this too. When I look at this epidemiological study, this was done by Dr. Pierre Corey and a journalist, Mary Beth Pfeiffer. And their article was written for The Hill magazine. It was entitled Opinion, This is Bigger Than COVID. Why are so many Americans dying early? I just want you to field me on this and then give me your thoughts. Here's what the record is indicating. It says that life insurers, who the last people you would have expected to be the ones you'd have to go to about this kind of health information, logically are actually the best people to go to about this information. Life insurers have been consistently sounding the alarm over these unexpected or excess deaths. Here's what they mean by that. If you look at the first 9 months, January to September, the end of September of this year, and compare that to January to the end of September of 2022, last year, we had if you compared it to the same period in 2019, we had 158,000 more Americans die in the first 9 months of 2023 than who died in the first 9 months of 2019, the year before the pandemic, which is your baseline year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would that occur?
Wow.
Okay. So the worst of the pandemic is behind us, I think, right? At least that's what we've been told. That's what NBC told us. That's what ABC told us.
Right.
That's even what, Stormfront, and Breitbart, they all told us the same thing. COVID's behind us.
But still people
Right?
dying.
But the actuarial reports used by insurers to inform decisions about how to put premiums together that people have to pay for life insurance, they show deaths occurring disproportionately, get this, among young people working age. In other words, if you looked at young people in the age range of 35 to 44-year-old people, their rate of dying over the first 9 months of this year was 26% higher than the same 35 to 44-year-old population in 2019.
Wow.
In the younger population, 25 to 34, their rate of death over the first 9 months of this year was 19% higher than it was for the first 9 months of 2019. That's for people 25 to 34 years old. Now, why do I speak to this? Why would I focus on this? We were told that the invulnerable group, the group that when they came out of the bathroom and they ripped open their robes, you saw a blue shirt with a red medallion and a yellow, S in the middle of it.
Super people.
And ta-da, the world shook when they came out. They were super people.
Well, I guess that COVID is kryptonite.
And here's the thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not with the conspirator. What do you call it? The conspiracy theorists. I'm not with them. Yeah. I think they're insane. They're trying to kill us. They're not trying to help us. But whenever you do something different than what you had been doing before, you must plan for and expect something different is going to happen than has happened before, because you're doing something different now. We're putting things in our bodies. We didn't just put a vaccine in our bodies. I've been boosted 4 times.
I've been boosted 3.
I've been boosted 4 times. My wife, she abuses me if I don't get boosted when she tells me it's time to get boosted again.
Good for her.
Okay, see how she signed on to that real quick.
Yeah, right on.
That's what they do.
And so I'm with it. She's trying to protect me. Yeah. She's trying to protect herself. Yeah. I get all of that. Yeah. I'm with that.
Yo, Willie, if you're behind in your boosters, get it, okay? Because
right now.
It's been very easy for me. Now.
Right
okay?
now.
Okay. Don't mess around.
Just today, you got a car. Go to Rite Aid or where I'm sorry, we're not supposed to advertise, right? But go to somebody, put on your in the internet, put in free vaccinations.
Well, when I go to my doctor, every time I go, they always ask for boosts. So I'll get it when I go back.
But here's my point on this. We studied the vaccine enough to see if it would kill you in the short run. You know, they get a 10-month run on did the vaccine hurt us or help us?
Right.
And they felt the vaccine was 90-something% safe and so on. All good. Now they sent the vaccine out. Then, you know, once Pfizer and Moderna got as much money as they could get out of the first run of the vaccine, they said, wow, people are not getting any more vaccines because they already got vaccinated. I know, let's boost them up. So they put up another vaccine, right, a booster vaccine, and they hit us 4 times. So, I mean, for me, they probably got $1,000 out of me, you know, just for vaccinations and so on. All that's cool. Here's the problem. Long-term effects cannot be assessed until a long term has passed.
Right.
The end of 2020 to the end of 2023 is not a long term, especially when 2/3 of the people that got vaccinated didn't get vaccinated until the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021. So, in fact, further than that, more like the beginning of 2021 and the end of or the early part of 2022. So we don't know what the long-term effects are. Here's what the research is suggesting. It's saying that people are dying from things like smoke. I'm sorry. They're dying from. I'm looking at the wrong piece here.
Yeah, that's the keys. What are they dying from?
Right.
They're
dying from things that are happening to people's livers. They're dying from heart ailments. They're dying from. Oh boy, I tried to write these things down.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Harris. So it's not like the increase in deaths among young people are among folks who didn't take a COVID vax. That's not it.
Right. It's not people dying from, you know, the things that COVID does to you, you know, in terms of the respiratory
but are those
stuff.
People non-vax, you know, because it's not from that. I mean, at this point, my understanding is people who get sick and end up in the hospital or die are those who are unvaxxed and tend to be older.
And what they're saying here is that people who are vaccinated are dying. Yeah, here's the analysis shows that this is, to some extent, we know what is killing the young people. According to this study, it says that actuarial analysis of government data showing mortality increases in liver disease, kidney disease, cardiovascular diseases, and diabetes.
Okay.
Now, here's what's important about those 4 conditions I just described. And I'm a diabetic, so I know a lot about that side of the issue.
Me too.
Yep.
These are immune disorders. These are when your pancreas is not producing insulin or producing it too much or too little, you're unregulated. You end up causing inflammation to occur in your cardiovascular system because you have pressure, then less pressure, pressure, then less pressure.
Right.
The consequence of that is you're overworking. Your body is overworking the immune system to respond to these rises and falls of pressure in your cardiovascular system. What that does is takes away white blood cells needed to fight other stuff that's going on in your body, like the coronavirus that comes in. It doesn't even wear armor. It just comes in almost naked, you know, into your body and starts showing off. And before you know it, you got 35 million coronavirus cells, you know, running around in your body, and your body's not able to defend itself against it.
Right.
So other stuff starts happening.
Right.
You get inflammation in your brain. You know, I mean, the inflammation is always at the root of virtually every sickness that we get. But the immune system is what is causing us to have these radical increases in deaths, because the immune system is not functioning well because the coronavirus itself attacks the immune system. That's what it does. So my point in bringing all of this up, and the reason why I was reacting to it, is that it seems to me that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, they should be telling us about this right now and telling us what we should be doing, how we should think about it, so that you don't have people like Nate Hare becoming an alarmist, you know, saying, good gracious, the virus, the vaccines are killing us. The vaccines aren't killing us, but what the virus does to us is killing us, and what we're doing to respond to what the virus is doing to us may not be as effective as it needs to be. That's the issue. When you start talking about 25 to 45-year-old people being the people that die the most, the population of people aged 65 and older, according to this report, in the period between the first 9 months of this year and the first 9 months of 2019, the death rates for the people over 65 actually dropped by 6%.
That doesn't surprise me.
Right.
Because
Go ahead.
Because COVID was a big factor for over.
Yep.
But now it's not. Thank goodness. Yeah.
Yep. So they got better. If you just compared apples to oranges, if people are doing the same thing they've been doing, they smoke the same that they did, they used whatever you call these addictive drugs, and so on. If they stayed up at night playing cards or whatever it is that people do that they've always done. If you take those things as the given that the population in 2019, if they were behaving the same way as the population in 2023, you should see the same relative rates of death for all of these population groups, except for the impact of the pandemic. So take the pandemic out for years 2020 to 2021 and just look at 2019, compare that to 2023. That's where you get what they refer to as excess deaths. I hate the way that they say that stuff, Kaki, because it sounds almost trite when you call it excess deaths. There's 158,000 Americans that died this year who would not have died if we had not made the changes in our society that we did. Now, I say that trying to help people understand that the 103 million people that got vaccinated from the COVID-19 compared to the 1.1 million people who died, the vaccination probably saved the lives of several 100,000 American people because of the vaccines.
Right.
So we
Probably
can't
millions.
million, right?
Millions.
So we
if 103 million people got it, then probably millions were saved by it.
Exactly. So we can't do what a lot of these crazy people do, that they want to hate on the vaccine. It's not about hating on the vaccine. It's about saying that we have to continually monitor everybody in our society and try to see if the vaccine itself is creating a response inside our bodies that we had not foreseen. Or maybe it's not the vaccine. Maybe it's just different forms of the coronavirus because remember, the virus gets inside of you. It incubates and spreads and multiplies inside of you. It figures out what parts of it your body won't react to and what parts it will. And the parts that your body will react to, it kills that and doesn't let that continue to multiply. But the part of you that your body seems to like, it multiplies that. But we don't know what the effect of that is. Do those sort of modified viruses, do they go to your kidney? Do they go to your pancreas? Do they go to your heart? What does it do?
Well,
it takes time to figure this stuff out, but we got to be on it.
It's really more research. I mean, I could have taken the Paxlovid. I got a prescription, and then one of my neighbors said that, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. She said that there's an increased risk of rebound. So there was a slight increased risk, but then I saw a study published last month that was a 21%. And, since my son's trying to go to Japan, I thought, man, if I take it and then I rebound and I infect him, he ain't getting on that plane, So, and since everything was so mild, I held off. And then, everything's anecdotal, but it shouldn't be. I mean, this is going to take time to figure out. It's going to take research. I would really love to read the paper that the source.
Yep.
So I will.
You got a pencil handy? I'll give you the source right now. If you got a pencil and paper handy.
I've got a notebook on my. I will do a note on my phone. So yes.
Okay. So this report was written by Dr. Pierre Pierre. His last name is Corey, Kory. He was co-authored by a woman named Mary Beth Pfeiffer, and Pfeiffer is spelled P-F-E-I-F-F-E-R. P-F-E-I-F-F-E-R.
Okay.
And the title is Opinion, This is Bigger Than COVID, why are so many Americans dying early?
Yeah.
Okay, who published?
It published in the Hill magazine on December 13th, just yesterday.
Okay, wow.
And me being nosy, that's why I know about it, because I'm nosy. For all of you out there that have been wondering, why this guy always come up with all of this stuff, it's because I'm a nosy person, okay?
Now,
Just, you have to live with that with me.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm gonna check it out because it definitely merits more research and.
And
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, and I just think I'm a little irritated that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is not talking about this themselves.
Right.
These people work, this Dr. Corey works for a government organization. So he's giving this information to the CDC.
Yeah. But,
why aren't they talking about it?
But well, I think because if you come out with it and you come out with too early, then it can really start conspiracy theories.
And we panic people, and that's the right point, Kaki.
Yeah.
We don't want to panic people, but we do need to be sure that people are paying attention to this, because this may be the end of something with the COVID-19. What we're seeing in the death rates may be the end of something. Or it may be the beginning of something.
Something, yeah.
Because it takes
they
time.
need to look at who got what vaccine. Do they have that data even?
Right.
It's a whole lot of, where these people, it is just a whole lot of analysis. But I really appreciate your sharing that with me. It's very interesting. I also, just to end on COVID, I'm hoping that with the excess of commercial properties, with the housing crisis, maybe that's an opportunity to address that, because these buildings are vacant. I mean, the vacancy rates are crazy, and it's some of that is happening, but a lot more of it. We had this terrible housing crisis. So I want to wish you all such a happy holiday. If I don't talk to you before that,
absolutely.
And I know it's time for your break.
Yep,
this is a really
you hit it right on the head. Thanks, Kaki. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.
All right, love y'all. Bye-bye.
Love you too.
Kaki.
Love you. Bye-bye.
So listen, hopefully this was informative. We look forward to talking to you all on the other side of the break here at Living for the People at 91.3 FM WBNY. See you in a couple minutes.
The COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health.
If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
91.3 FM WBNY is proud to present Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman.
Welcome to Democracy Now!
Award-winning investigative journalism.
Is the NRA imploding?
Providing relevant analysis that makes you think.
Secret State Department documents, including evidence of U.S. war crimes.
Fact-finding reports you will not hear elsewhere. Democracy Now! Airs Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on 91.3 FM WBNY Buffalo. Ready for radio that's challenging, innovative, and encouraging? Tune in, Living for the People.
This is L. Nathan Hare. Join me right here, 91.3 FM WBNY. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. after Amy Goodman's Democracy Now! We'll provide objective analysis regarding current issues. Call 878-5104. It's Living for the People on 91.3 FM WBNY. All right, welcome back to Living for the People. This is L. Nathan here, your host. We're here for the rest of this hour with Willie H., who does the live streaming of the program. Welcome, Willie.
Welcome, everybody, to Living for the People with L. Nathan here.
Well, Willie, we started off on something on Monday, talking about the policy positions, actually a week ago Friday, and last week Friday, and this past
And Mr. Hare,
Go ahead.
Can I pause you? I know you're going to another, but this COVID thing is really that subject is really like working me
People
right
are starting to hear it, right?
No, it's work. And what you said is like, wow. So, is there any way you could compare the deaths during COVID when it was at its high to now? The people deaths. What's the difference?
Yes, you can look at the actuarial reports on death rates in the United States by age range, and you'll get a chart that will come up. Several charts will come up. On the internet. Then you can look at the charts and you can look at the dates, and you can say, well, there was no COVID-19 in 2019.
Okay.
So we can take that as a base year.
Right.
And look at the different age groups and what death rates were for each of the age groups.
Right.
Then you could go to 2020 when the virus was roaring from February of 2020 until the summer of 2021. The virus was just ripping through our population and whatnot. So you can look at the death rates during 2020 and 2021 and 2022. We still had some coronavirus infection going on in 2022. Then you could compare that to 2023 for the same months or same year. You can compare that same population group, what their death rates were in 2019, what they were in 2020, in 21, 22, and 23. And if you do that, you'll be able to see if there is a significant difference. The study that Dr. Corey did, it showed there was a significant difference in the death rates for people ages 25 to age 45. That's the core of the working age population in our country. And that's the population that seems to have the most significant number of deaths. We're talking about for the 35 to 45-year-old people, we're talking about a 26% increase in death rates for that population.
Right.
For the population 25 to 35, we're talking 19% difference.
Here's what I want to know. I want to know when COVID was at its height, the height year, how many deaths was there, total deaths, and then now, 2023.
The same study would allow you to do that. So if you just looked at particular years, you know that COVID was at its height in 2020 and 2021.
Do you know the amount?
I don't have it in my head, right? But I know that by the time we got to, I believe it was March of this year, we went over 1,300,000 deaths to COVID-19 had occurred by March of this year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot, right? I mean, that's more deaths.
Which means, I mean, I'm hearing you, and that's telling me that during COVID height, when everybody was home, they had people home and everything, that it's just as dangerous now as it was then. But
we have to manage our health all the time, not some of the time. But the point I'm trying to make in just what I was discussing with Khaki is that we have to do more than just monitor the spread of the COVID-19 virus or the coronavirus in our population.
Everything.
You got to start looking at why are people dying in the first place.
Right. Why are young people dying?
You're young. Why are you dying of liver disease?
Right.
Why are you dying of kidney disease? Those are diseases that take a long time to incubate, inside somebody.
Well, here's another thing, too, just to put that in here. A lot of young people, 60-year-old, we have some erectile dysfunction. So when we get older, the prostate and all that,
stuff doesn't work anymore.
Work as good as when we was in our 20s and 30s, right? But what they're discovering is that a lot of young people in their 20s and 30s is getting erectile dysfunction. What's going on?
So that's why I'm suggesting I don't have a medical answer. I only know that there is a medical question that needs to be thought through, researched, and answers need to be found.
Right.
Something wrong has happened in our population that is causing these excess deaths in the heart of our population, people at the most getting pregnant stage, a fatherhood stage, working career stage, people in those productive parts of the life cycle of Americans,
Right.
they're the ones who are dying most. That should not be occurring.
Right.
If anything, they should be the ones that are the least affected. They're the strongest.
They're the strongest, right.
But apparently something is happening that is attacking people and making them weaker when they
Right.
should be stronger. I don't know what that something is.
And I'm thinking it may be more than just medicinal. It might be other stuff that's going on in our
My science is simple. Whenever I find that something is an outcome is different than what I thought the outcome would be, I try to look at what my inputs are.
Right.
What am I doing today that's different than what I was doing yesterday?
Right.
If I stop doing the different thing and go back to doing the thing that I used to do my outcomes level out again and go back to what they were.
Right.
You know, I that's the only way I know how to approach a problem. I'm not a medical doctor, but something is happening in our physiology as a community of American people that is across ethnic groups. It's happening to orange people, brown people, pink people, white people, black people, chocolate people, striped people, zebras. It's happening to everybody in the same way. So something has been introduced into our continuum as a health species that is different than what was going on in 2019.
Right. I could tell you this. Been talking to some people, and everybody, they talk about their grandparents and their parents. Like when they would get sick, they used a lot of herbs. Now, medicine, we use a lot of pharmaceutical medicine that's man-made.
All these antibiotics that we take.
And then you hear those commercials with all the side effects.
Yep.
Right? You hear almost more side effects than actually.
If the side effect says, and by the way, you know, all these wonderful things that I'm doing for you with this medication,
right?
And by the way, I might kill you.
That's what I'm saying.
I think you should turn that down. Just turn that down.
Yeah, but you know, it's
drink some lemon, some warm lemon juice or something. So I just wanted to help us to understand that the policy issue is we need to have the Common Council, state senators, state assembly people, governors, Congress people, senators. We need to get them to push to make sure that the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is looking at this issue and giving us reports.
And doing their job, actually.
You know, let us know. If you don't know the answer, tell us that you don't know the answer.
Right.
Say what I said. Say that things are happening different now than what were happening in 2019. I don't have an answer, but we're working on it right now. We'll let you know as we go.
Right.
And that's the way it has to be approached. But I don't want to be in a situation where, like Donald Trump said, oh, no, there's no virus. It'll go away in a couple of days. We can't afford to treat our problems that way. We need to face up. If there's something going on and we don't have an answer for it, admit that we don't have an answer and start looking at the problem. Start engaging the people that know stuff about that problem and make a conscientious effort to get this under control. Did you have a caller hanging on there? Okay. So
yeah, we got a call.
Oh, well, let me grab that call real quick. Hi, caller. Are you there?
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. I was calling in because of what was mentioned. Willie mentioned about the, the males that are suffering the same thing that middle-aged men suffer or elderly.
Yep. He was talking about people. Go ahead. Yeah, he was talking about people with prostate issues and whatnot
Erectile
that didn't seem to have those issues at the rate that they're getting it now. That didn't seem to be the case several years ago. So, is there something that we're doing in our food or in our environment that's different?
Right.
That may be the reason why we're seeing these increases in prostate cancer and erectile dysfunction. I don't know if those things are related to each other.
Right.
I just know that they're related to the same genital parts. I know that part.
Right.
Well, my thought is, my mom used to speak with us, and she was very open with my brothers. And And she would say, first of all, the first thing is, if you're having an issue, down the line, because they were pretty young at the time, teenagers and whatnot. But she says stress is the number one.
No, I love you talking about that. That's
stress,
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stress can, and when you look at what's happening in the world right now, I mean, just the fact that, this nation can become a dictatorship,
Yep.
And, already what black men go through, that their white counterparts don't go to, the black and brown men, and so on and so forth. And, their lives.
And then just think about the fact that when I was young, I don't think I knew anyone that got shot when I was, before I was maybe 23, 24 years old. I don't think I had met anyone that had gotten shot. I met a couple of kids that got knifed, but mostly it was just fist fights. In fact, we used to do fist fights by appointment. We would say, we're going to meet you over at the South Michigan Bridge, we're going to meet you at 3 o'clock. Exactly. Willie was out there too. See, he didn't tell you about that. He was out there fighting too.
The girls wanted to fight. I'll meet you out at 3 o'clock. What was you talking about? I was laughing, but she was serious.
Right. But that was a different world. Now the world that we live in now, you send your kids to school and you think there's a reasonable chance that somebody might shoot your kid in school because they're having some sort of fit.
That's right.
I got an AR-15 and I'm having a fit.
Yeah.
Right. So that's and that's just your life. Okay, you're worried about your life. You're worried about your family. You're worried about making money.
Yeah.
To sustain your family. You guys gonna be eating tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that stress is a big factor.
Yeah, I think you've hit on something because stress also manifests itself in heart disease, in glandular problems that you may have. All those things that create inflammation. Stress causes inflammation in you. Clearly, there's a relationship between the stress that people are enduring right now, even if you're not worried about getting shot. The fact that you were worried about getting the wrong kind of coronavirus inside of you and it might kill you without you even knowing it was doing it. Right?
Wow.
Or you're worried about going to the supermarket and being shot down in the doggone supermarket.
And in our community, that's a real thing in our community in Buffalo.
And it's a real thing everywhere. There seems to be everywhere you look. There's another mass shooting somewhere where there are, nothing was going, it's an innocent place.
And it's not just what they keep calling urban communities. I hate when they say that because I know what they mean. They mean black communities when they say urban communities. But, Uvalde, how many? Only 6 people lived in the town of Uvalde where that school district was. They killed 19 people, in that situation. I mean, this is happening all over the country. There's a spirit. This is how my daughter would frame this. There is a spirit that has been unleashed in our community of humanity, and it's like a stalking horse. It's like a stalking horse. Remember, I used to teach you about that in the old mythological stuff we would learn in our little kid stories and whatnot. It's like a shadow, that's sitting over you with a sword or a sickle, and it's coming to just do you. Whenever it gets a chance. We're in that kind of situation right now, it appears to me.
Well, you hit that nail on the head exactly because, not to get off into a religious thing, but that horse that the Revelation mentioned that's taken away the peace of the earth. And then those horse riders, and then that rider that is death. It's bringing death all.
Right. And it doesn't matter whether that scripture is an absolute factual situation or if it's symbolism that the scripture is communicating to us. It is telling us that in our future, these stalking horses are in our future. Whether they're physical stalking horses or they're spiritual stalking horses, they're in our future.
And we see the evidence.
This is the future. This is the future.
That's right. We're living the future that Nostradamus predicted, right?
And that the Bible before him predicted.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Well, he was just reading the Bible. You know, that's the way I look at it. He was just reading the Bible.
Yeah, that's where he got his information from. But he was trying to make money.
Yep. You know, and I don't remember what happened to him. But the core issue is we have a spirit that has been unleashed among us as a people, and that spirit is finding different ways to kill us. And it's because we've given ourselves over to a spirit that is a destructive, corrosive, death-creating spirit, and we have to find a way out of it. Listen, I mean, I don't want to get on anybody's side one way or the other on this Hamas-Israel kind of thing, okay? I'm just saying that 1,200 Israelite or people that were on the Israelite side of thought died as a result of a unwarranted attack by these Hamas people against Israel. They killed some 1,200 people, okay? Now, that's horrible. They should be brought to justice. Everything that can be done to find and arrest and give consequences to those people, that should be done. That happened on October 7th. It is now December 14th. We're talking about 67 days have gone by since then. And over those 67 days, almost 19,000 Palestinians have been killed. Most of them have been women and children. At least 7,000, according to what I've read in one report, were people that were age 16 and under. Another 5,000 were women, and the rest were men who were at the barbershop, going to the grocery store, going to get gas, mowing lawns, whatever it is that people normally do in their lives, had nothing to do with the attack that was mounted by Hamas. All these people are dead, and they don't get talked about like in American press. It's the 107 American or hostages are still in the hands of Hamas. We've got to do everything possible to get them out. I feel that we should do everything possible to get them out.
Right.
We should also do everything possible not to have another 18 or 19,000 people dead. Over the course of the next 30 days.
Innocent people.
Okay? I mean, you look at the pictures of the Gaza Strip, they've literally bombed like 25 or 30% of the Gaza Strip has been bombed to smithereens. There were 2.4 million people living in Gaza, the Gaza Strip. Where are these people now? What about the fact that they deliberately and bragged about it? They denied the people in the Gaza Strip water, denied them food, denied them electricity to be able to power their stoves and other things that are based on electricity and so on. They deliberately have been not trying, they deliberately have been starving people, making people die of thirst, people dying with no access to health care because the hospitals have been bombed, because there's no power in the hospitals, there's no food, there's no medicine, and so on. Why is there no outcry for that? Why are we not hearing people who have a righteous spirit saying that what's been done with Hamas, we can't rest until those Hamas people are brought to justice, and simultaneously we have to end the Holocaust being visited upon the people of Palestine who do not deserve what is happening to them. Right. They do not deserve to have the Israelis licking their lips, and talking smack about we're going to smash Hamas and we're going to kill Hamas. But you're not killing Hamas. You're killing Palestinians. Right.
And Mr. Hare,
and why is that anti-Semitic? How is that anti-Semitic?
Mr. Hare, there is an outcry. Media is probably not pushing as well. Matter of fact, I want to thank Yvonne for calling. Thank you, Kenneth, for hanging out with us. Ryan and Jerry Hall, thank you guys for all watching us on Facebook. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, darling. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Okay. Take care. I got about 4 minutes. Let me just share with you. I try to be fair in terms of how we talk about Donald Trump and the Democrats. But I went to an article written by Dr. Wayne Grudem, He's a fan of Donald Trump. You know, he voted for Donald Trump. He says that Donald Trump's policies are what he was for. So I want us to take a look at what he says Donald Trump's policies are, and for you to have a thought yourself as to what you think about these policies. Are these things that you would be proud of, that you want to see occur? He slashed taxes. He says Donald Trump slashed taxes significantly. He did. The result of that 41% or 42% drop in corporate taxes and 8% drop in personal income taxes, the result of that is adding $7.8 trillion to the national debt. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? You think about that. He canceled thousands of government-imposed regulations, and these two actions spurred vigorous economic growth. That's what he's asserting, that killing all of these regulations spurred economic growth. But we haven't seen that. What we have seen is by not having to comply with regulations, businesses save money, and they took the money that they saved and they used it to buy back their corporate stock. They put that money back into their own business as equity in their own businesses. Right. They didn't turn that into, growing new businesses, right? But that's what these people are saying. He says, while bringing inflation down to just over 2% per year, he says that that's one of Donald Trump's, accomplishments. However, what he doesn't tell you is that gross domestic product growth in the last year of the Trump administration, 2020, gross domestic product actually shrank by 2.77% in that year. The very next year, which was the first year of Joe Biden's presidency, the GDP, or gross domestic product, grew by over 2% over the course of that year. You tell me what was the better outcome, the achievement. According to Grudem, he says Trump reduced the flow of illegal immigrants from 297,000, almost 298,000, to just over 143,000 per year. Under Biden, the illegal immigrants went to 2.76 million in 2022 and went to 3.2 million so far in 2023. Now, those numbers seem high when I look at the immigration reports, but I didn't have enough time to work out the sources of those. So I'm not going to go any further than what Grudem has said. But even if that's the case, would I trade off Trump instead of Biden because of what he claims is his success in keeping people from crossing the border? Or is it better for me to have lower inflation, for me to have a greater gross domestic product, for me to have lower unemployment rates and that sort of stuff? He says that Trump built over 200 miles of effective border walls and would have built many more if construction had not been blocked by liberal judges and by a Democratic Congress that refused to appropriate money for the wall. He doesn't tell you about the fact that that same Republican Congress refused to appropriate money to fund hundreds of new judges, to fund foster care facilities along the border so that when you catch people illegally crossing the border, you can process them quickly, house them, for 2 or 3 days, and then send them back to wherever they came from, which is what you said you wanted to do. Those bills have been put before Congress and have been voted down by the Trump-aligned Republican Party. President Trump negotiated the Abraham Accords, which established normal diplomatic relationships between Israel and 4 neighboring Arab countries. So that's one of the achievements that Grudem says Trump accomplished. But in fact, since the accords were signed, the prospect for peace with Israel has grown even worse than ever before. Basically, they went to some rich, chiefdoms, in the Arab world that Trump was hooked up with, and they all shook hands and say, we're all for peace with Israel, then never did anything to actually create the peace agreements with Israel, and then allowed the situation to occur today. How can it be that all these Arab countries are surrounding Israel and none of them are fighting to say, if you don't stop this massive bombing of Gaza, we're going to start bombing you. Why aren't the other Arab countries standing up for those Palestinian people? That's another thought. So all of the Palestinian people who are upset about the existence of Israel, you may be upset about the existence of Israel, but your existence is really what's under threat if you don't reorganize how you think about you and yourselves. If you move to get behind a two-state solution and make that what you commit to, that there be no more bombings from Palestinian territory going into Israel, we may be able to get this problem under control. We may be able to get this settled. I personally think if we read the policy of the Israeli government, their policy is they want to take all of Palestine and make that all a part of Israel. They don't tell you that. They keep telling you that the Palestinians are the genocidal people. They want to have Palestine from, sea to sea, from the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. They want all of that to be Palestine. That may be true, but the policy, the written policy of the Israeli government is that they want all of Palestine to be under Israel, from the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea. So they're accusing people of what they're doing. The actual national policy of Israel is the genocide of the Palestinian people. We need to make sure that people are understanding what these issues are and start confronting these things straight up. But they got to be confronted honestly, and that's not what's occurring. You have massive amounts of aid going to Israel all the time. On top of all the regular aid going to Israel, you got 6 to 8,000 or 8 billion of additional military aid going to Israel. None of that is going to the Palestinian people. We need to get this under control, and we need to get it under control quickly. It's important that we think and then act based on rational thought. Thank you all for listening to us and supporting us. We look forward to talking to you all on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. Go Bills. We will see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.